by Courtney, who does fantastic work in St. Luke's as a consultant position. It's going to speak now.
Thank you, Justine. Again, I'd like to say I'm very privileged to be here. Susie wasn't my patient, but I got to know her a little bit. And I must say it was very uplifting to know her. She was really a phenomenon in force of nature. And it was really great to talk to her because she was very energizing. So it's fantastic to see the energy in this room and the good memories attached to her. I like the suggestion of the partnership, and I do think we as a hospital, and Leonard Walls is here, and Carol, a number of us here tonight, some of the nurses, would like very much to support this whole drive. We obviously try to preserve life, but there's a time comes when obviously death is inevitable. And I always used to remember hearing my mother and father say, you know, they had a good death, and I think that's very important. Susie definitely had a good death, and it was wonderfully looked after in Harold's Cross. I visited her a few times there, and I must say I was very impressed by the quality of care there. So it would be fantastic if we could have that in Kilkenny and also in Carlow. And if there's anything, we're employees of the HSE, and if there's anything we can do to help, we'll be more than willing. A year ago, we wanted a day services unit, and I can tell you it was nowhere near the top of the priorities of the HSE. I'm here 11.5 years, and it was top of my priorities, but I couldn't get it to the top of theirs. And then Susie came along, and within months, we now have the top of our priority list day services unit, which she very eloquently described on the television. You will notice, by the way, that Miriam O'Callaghan, who normally gets everything right and is a very clear reporter, got confused about diagnostics, and she said to Susie, look, but what's the point of building these small units? Shouldn't we all have centres of excellence? But of course, what Susie wanted, what we want, is a diagnostic centre. And the whole point about diagnostic centres is they should be available very close to people's homes. And that would really be the case for hospice as well. So Susie managed to get the day services unit right to the top of the priority, just by the force of her presence. And I actually think this audience tonight and the people here can get the hospice really to the top of the HSE priority list. I see no reason why the HSE, who suddenly could find 5.4 million for the day services unit, which is going to be absolutely fantastic, why they can't find the 2 million that you just mentioned tonight. I think they should find the land, and I think they should find the staff, and I think they should find the money, and I think this group should make them do that in Susie's memory. I know, I'm speaking for myself, and I'm sure the other staff members here, and I'm sure Emmett will speak here as well, that we would very much like to cooperate with that. And I deal quite a lot with cancer patients. I know Emmett looks after them and very well too, and the staff here. So it's in our interest for our patients as well. Thank you very much.
Yes, indeed. How are you? I didn't really come prepared as such, but I'm absolutely delighted to be at this meeting. And I think I have things to say that you really need to hear. Joe Duffy's light isn't shining into somewhere with nothing to shine on. Just to give you an idea. Palliative care is absolutely defined in government policy. The government, and I'd like to be interrupted and for it to be interactive. You know, it's clearly defined in government policy. Micheál Martin published the report of the National Advisory Committee on Palliative Care in 2000. It's government policy. It defines what we should all have, which is what Susie didn't get. It defines what it is in every setting. It defines how you do it, who does it, you know, what the building should be like, what the staffing should be like, what the training should be like. Government policy since 2000. Then the HSE themselves, really it's only in the last couple of years, but the HSE South, I have to say, have taken it on. And they themselves published a strategy document which clearly outlines the development of palliative care services in the southeast. Now I know I'm just so conscious of this ray of light and shining it on the right thing. What is clearly documented here as government policy and as HSE Southeast policy is that there will be a hospice in the grounds of Kilkenny Hospital, St. Luke's Kilkenny. It'll be a 15-bedded unit. It'll be properly staffed and properly resourced. It'll be attached to the hospital. So patients can get their consult from their consultant surgeon if they're in, or from psychiatry, psychology, from oncology. They can be wheeled in for an x-ray and back out. They won't be on a greenfield site out the road, as we'd say St. Francis Hospice, or, as I understand, in Milford, and have to get into an ambulance to go for an x-ray, for instance. The wonderful thing about that, as I say, is it's there, it's a door waiting to be pushed. It's incredible to think that it's there and the door isn't being pushed, but you know, the way finances are in the HSE. I think what the wonderful thing about here is the Friends of St. Luke's. There's that other body of people in St. Luke's Hospital who have dynamism and energy and commitment, and who force the political hand by developing services and developing units in such a way that the political system has to follow. And they've done that repeatedly, and they did it with the palliative daycare centre. And here we are again now. This is an opportunity to do something like this in Kilkenny. I suppose I have other things to say, but it might be better if you just interrupted me at any point. I was listening to a lot of the things that were said earlier, and some of the things that came up for me were, you know, it's not about dying, you know. It's about just exactly what Susie and Connor said. It's about living to the max. You know, and in her day, Susie chose to have procedures that really extended her life. One in particular in Waterford really extended her from a very bad weekend on to get the opportunity to go to the hospice. And I'm absolutely delighted, having worked there for a good few years, and I recognise that I've deteriorated a lot since worked in Harold's Cross. I'm absolutely delighted that she got there, and that getting there, she told everybody what we should have, could have. It's, as I say, it's all clearly defined. If we have a hospice, it won't be about taking the dying in to die. It'll be about probably me or mine, who finds a lump or sees some blood and can't be cured, but is trying to stay well and get on with my life as I'm just losing my ability to do more things. And I might need times, if you like, to go to the garage, get sorted and get home again and be properly supported by a well-resourced home care team, and be able to come back in if I need to, but to max my life. And you know, the care, for some people, they're able to go home and be at home. The centres of excellence, again, like Susie, sometimes you'll have to go to Waterford for radiation. You know, sometimes you'll have to do those kind of things. But this report talks about the palliative care unit, the hospice unit in Kilkenny, being a satellite unit. And just for you to know, in case you think that's a lesser animal, the only thing missing from a full and complete hospice is the education centre, which would be down in Waterford for students and that sort of thing. There'd still be education going on locally. But the design brief is done. It's on the HSC website for hospices, what they look like, how they should be structured. The brief, as I said, as to how they should be staffed, etc., that's all done. On the site, the development sites in Kilkenny, the triangle is shaded in. Now, the way it works is that triangle will be moved around, but it's actually shaded in on the site that the hospice is part of the development. So I think Joe's beam of light could potentially really have something to shine on. I suppose that really, I suppose, changes it a bit from what Tommy said, you know. I think we had the daycare centre here. We don't have 500,000 people in a 6-mile radius like Harold's Cross, you know, we don't. If people are well enough to come into the daycare centre, palliative daycare centre in Kilkenny, by and large, they have other things they prefer to be doing. We've got to watch it that the palliative care unit we have in Kilkenny is maximally used, so that people who are at home and are having problems, their condition is deteriorating, that they get a good assessment. There are so many times, like with Susie, that when a person deteriorates and looks like they're starting to die, even though they have cancer, it's something that the cancer is doing that can be fixed. It can range from a pneumonia, it can be something high calcium in the bloodstream, you know, and you get somebody in, you sort it, and then their dependency and their inability to do things and the pressure that puts on them and on their family is pushed to one side, and off they go again. And that's part of the kind of service that I think we need to be looking at.
Emma, can I just
Yes.
ask, is there a time frame on when hospice can be built?
I was going to hand you the thing. Yeah. That's why we need the beam of light. Kilkenny has always needed the beam of light. Nothing would have happened, the CT scanner, nothing would have happened if it wasn't for people of Kilkenny. You know, I shouldn't be saying this, but you up in the ante to such a level that politically people can't ignore it. The daycare centre, the daycare palliative care centre in St. Luke's had a brass plaque on the wall opened by a politician for 12 months before a patient got into it. But that's the way it had to be done. It wouldn't be done yet if it wasn't kick-started. So the time frame, without any initiative locally and pressure, I think it could be many years. Certainly well over 6, 7. You know, it's down the line. And that's, like the HSE want it, but they know the kind of financial commitments they're going to get. So they know they're not going to be in a position to do it. But like all the other times, and correct me now if I'm going too far, you know, they cannot resist funding, you know, and the political pressure that brings. And if something like this was initiated here, it'll be all done by the book. The book is written, you know, it'll be all done by the book. The pressure will be on them to staff it and deliver on it. I mean, it won't be possible to hold it back. I really don't believe that. I mean, I think I'm being naive, but that's been the practice. Jeremy's nothing said. You know. I'm sorry to just to launch straight past everything and into it. It's just, it's there to be done. You know, no weekend cover, no nights. You know, if Susie came back to Kilkenny at the time, there would be no clinical or specialist to check in on her over the weekend, and nobody for the hospital to ring over the weekend. Now, we did it as consultants, we did it for nothing. Not that that mattered, that's not the point. We did it from 99 until about 18 months ago when one of my colleagues just got sick. It's not that it's a huge, you know, it's just that you're on call for Wexford, South Tipperary, Waterford and Kilkenny and the home care teams, and it just adds up. You need to staff the thing. You need to staff the thing. So what is happening in the intermediate term, not even in the intermediate term, is they have come to realise and they've gotten the money, and the on-call situation will be well nigh rectified in the middle of next year. But that's how long it takes to get things through.